What up, YouTube? It's your boy Double M, and I'm coming back at you with another sketch and rant. There ain't much to it, I just have a time lapse in the back while I'm ranting about something, which actually brings me to the actual title of these sketch and rants. If you think about it, looking at my past sketch and rants, looking at all my sketch and rants, I haven't really ranted about something, looking at the definition of rant and going back to my previous sketch and rants, I haven't really ranted about something. I'm not even that guy to rant about something unless it's really something that's affecting me, something that's really boiling something in me. But with the past videos, I haven't really ranted about something. I feel like I've more vented about something, Whenever a topic comes to mind, I'll just slap a time lapse in the background while I've vented more about it. Why I'm talking about this instead of what the video is actually about, I have no idea. Let's get to the actual topic of the sketch and rant. Or sketch and vent. I might actually change it to a sketch and vent. Let me know down in the comments, man. Let me know down in the comments. Now, what I'm going to talk about is the number one reason as to why I haven't and why I don't usually post as often, Not exactly why, but like it relates in a way, You see, your boy Double M, the one and only, he's a very busy man, He doesn't get that much free time he used to a number of years ago. He doesn't draw as much as he used to. And too many days, man, too many days have passed. I have let too many days pass where I didn't even draw one single thing, man. And I hate it, man. I hated it and I still hate it. Yeah, I know. You draw every day, you're gonna find yourself, more chances you're gonna find yourself in a burnout. And no one wants to find themselves in a burnout. But you know what I'm trying to say, Whenever I wanted to draw, I couldn't. Low-key because of how busy I was and how busy I still am. Because this is detrimental to my progress as an artist. Not only were my skills stagnant, my art skills, they were stagnant. They were low-key dipping in some areas where I thought I knew how to draw this. A couple of days passed, couple of weeks passed, couple of months passed. I go back to drawing that thing I used to know how to draw, or that thing I used to know how to draw. It's looking worse than I used to draw before, because I did not have that time to practice. I don't even have that much time I used to have with creating videos. So if you've been here long enough, if you've been one of the OG members of the Double Empire, you know how often I used to post and how often I post now. It's crazy, it's tragic. So basically what I'm trying to say is your boy Double M is a very busy man, and he also understands how busy people can get nowadays, which low-key gives them less time to be creative. Low-key gives them less time to practice. Not only practice, but create art. But that doesn't mean improvement is impossible. Because despite all of us having less time than we used to have a couple of years ago, less time to have and create art, that doesn't mean we can't improve. Because if we look at my art right now, the improvement, it's not really there. It's there, but it's not really like, damn. It's like, damn, okay. I'm gonna be honest. The improvement is there, but it's not really that much, It's a small, constant improvement. But what I like about it especially is that there has been the most improvement, especially now, recently, compared to when I had a lot of time to create, a lot of time to practice. And I'm gonna explain what I did wrong and why that's the case. What I did wrong was doing art with a mentality. The type of mentality I did art with was, I was trying to tell myself, create more art, trying to come up with a lot of quantity, so that I could have a lot of content on IG, I could have a lot of content on YouTube. I thought the amount of content correlated to the success as an artist, which in a way it was, but not completely. You can't just draw a lot of something. You can't just draw a lot of averagely leveled art and expect to go somewhere. The art somewhat has to improve. So that was sort of my mistake. My art skills were at a specific level, but at that time I wasn't putting work into actually improving. I was putting work into creating more and more art, like I was some type of machine, some type of content creating machine, both my type of art and my videos. Looking back at my cringy videos, especially that cringy first video for the outfit redraw, watch it at your own risk. A lot of my videos are actually at somewhat the same, I don't want to say skill, or what can I say, the same level, same level of content creation. Because at that time, I wasn't really looking, not to repeat myself, I wasn't really putting work into improving. I was like, okay, we need a lot of content on IG, we need a lot of content on YouTube so that these numbers could soar. The numbers improved, but not really, because if we are going to create a lot of the same level stuff, you're not going to improve anyway. The improvement was slim to none. I'm not going to lie. The good thing that came from constantly doing that was that slim improvement, but that improvement was slim because it wasn't what it could have been if I had put much more effort into actually improving. If I had put more effort into actually improving so that I'd create more quality work instead of a lot of quantity, because a lot of the same level stuff is still the same level stuff. So looking back, my mistake then was not utilizing the time I had then properly. Yes, what I did of constantly creating art was somewhat good, but I still needed to utilize the time to actually further my improvement in art so that I don't stay at the same level. I was aiming for art progress, but ironically what I was doing was keeping myself from actually progressing in art. So yeah, looking back, that was a mistake I did. Not only was I not actively putting in the effort to improve in my art, the art that I was creating, I was pushing myself to create it at almost like a weekly basis or even a daily basis. Looking back, what I was trying to do was create art weekly, right? There would be some pieces where creating it in a week would fit, right? A couple of days in a week would fit. Yeah, I say a couple of days because there were other things I did in the day. I went to school, I worked out, I did other things. So I told myself I'm gonna create art weekly so that every week, and I did this actually, so that every week art comes out. There were some pieces that I was able to do beautifully in that week, but then there were other pieces where it still needed a bit more time. And by the time Friday came, not even by the time Friday came, by the time Wednesday or Thursday came, I'd look at how far I was in the art and I'd look at how far Friday was and I'd tell myself I'm not gonna make it. So in a way I would alter the art, sort of like not giving myself enough time to create that masterpiece that could have been a masterpiece, but now I just rushed things so that it could get out on the Friday. That was the main mistake, creating art, not actively improving, not actively putting time to improve, and just rushing so that I could get it out at a time. I needed to use the time I had to create good quality stuff, refrain from creating a lot of quantity, and stick to using the art properly to create good quality art. So yeah, looking back, I had the time, but I fumbled it. I didn't put the effort into actively improving. I did improve, yes, but not as much as I could have, not as much as I wanted to. Alright, now I'm in the situation where I realized I should have put effort into improving. Let me put effort into improving. But now I don't have the time to put effort into improving. I don't have that much time I used to a couple of years ago. I'm in another conundrum because obviously with less time means less creation time, less practice time. It's just less. But that's the thing that I recently realized. That's the key word though. It's less. But it's not completely nil. It's not completely nothing. There is still some time in the day where you can still improve. There's still that time you have to yourself when you're on your break or on your lunch. There's still that time you have to yourself when you're in a line waiting for something. There's even that time you have while you're in the car ride or the train ride or the taxi ride to school or work or wherever it may be. Or maybe you have your own car and it's not the best to draw and drive yet, but you get the point. There's still these little times in the day where you can put effort into actively improving in your art. And you're looking at me crazy because you are thinking to yourself, this is too little time to actually put effort into creating art. No, it's not. Number one, daily 5-minute sketches are enough to improve as an artist. This is something that I found out. This is something that I've learned, and this is something that I have discovered by actively putting in 5 minutes of sketching every day. The art has somewhat improved and is still improving as we speak. And number two, no, it's not like you have to carry your whole digital drawing setup or your whole traditional drawing setup. No, a small sketchbook is enough, small enough for you to carry around you and big enough for you to actually draw on. As in between an A4 size sketchbook and an A5 size sketchbook. I personally like using an A5 size sketchbook, but if you like going A4 because you're in school and you got a somewhat big bag, go for the A4 or A5. It's up to you. And it's not even about the little times that we have in between the day. It's even about the day. It's even about the times in the day where you can sacrifice. The constant time of you going on YouTube or watching TV, you can cut some of that time or even use that whole time. Put that work in a sketchbook. Put that work in your setup, in your digital drawing or traditional drawing, whatever it is. Put that work into improving. That time you would use to constantly go out with friends, or not constantly, but like a number of times, like occasionally go out with friends. You don't have to completely cut it out, but like reduce it a bit so that the rest of the time can be used into actively improving. Whatever time you have, whatever time that you can sacrifice, put it into that sketchbook of yours where you can practice and offload anything. That's what I love about. I actually recently got the sketchbook, and right now I am actually very busy, and I'm glad that I got the sketchbook because the sketchbook helps me improve while I'm still busy. The times that I get to improve, I will be putting into that sketchbook. Whatever I feel like there's something I need to practice, I just whip up some images on my phone, or I'll try to draw it from imagination. Then I'm gonna go back home, whip the actual images up on my phone, do the reference study, and I'm like, that is not what I was trying to draw. I was drawing something different. That's one example. Or if you feel like you want to offload something, maybe you came from watching some movie, I don't know, some Spider-Man movie, and you want to draw some Spider-Man poses. You feel like drawing some Spider-Man poses. Go into that sketchbook that you bought for these little times that you find in the day and practice those Spider-Man poses. You never know when you actually have time to create some powerful illustration, some powerful characters, whatever it is, some powerful illustration. That 5 minutes, those constant 5 minutes that you put in the day, in the weeks, in the months, as it builds up, that's the improvement right now. It doesn't even have to be an expensive sketchbook, because I actually recommend don't buy an expensive sketchbook, because when you buy that expensive sketchbook, you're gonna feel like you don't want to dirty it. Get yourself a cheap sketchbook, because this is a sketchbook where you're going to practice and offload anything. Those times that you have to sacrifice, those little times in the day, or even those times where you can sacrifice. This is actually why I create these sketch and vents. Yeah, I'm changing it now. Sketch and vents, so that you can have this in the background playing as you are sketching, as you're hopefully sketching right now. You don't have to visually focus on what's happening on the screen. But if you want to visually focus, go ahead. Maybe somehow on some small chance on this God-given earth, I'm the artist that you're trying to study. But this is the opportunity to have this playing in the background as you are putting in that work in your sketchbook to practice, offload, do anything. But yeah, you get the point. Although doing this, the little times that pop up in the day, this is time that's more dedicated to putting in work into that sketchbook than actually creating something digitally or traditionally. But it does not mean that it is impossible to put that time into actually creating something digitally or traditionally. It just means that it's more comfortable, it's more made for putting in that work into that sketchbook. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to how much are you willing to sacrifice. It all boils down to sacrifice. How much do you want to improve as an artist? How much is in your way as improving as an artist, and how much are you willing to sacrifice to get where you need to be? Because where we need to be, there will be things in our way, and it all depends on not only the things that are in our way and how much we want to remove those things in our way. If you have a high goal, if you have somewhere you're really trying to reach, and those things are in your way, you have to find a way to work around it. You have to find a way to move them out of your way. It all depends on how much you're willing to sacrifice. If you just merely want to improve as an artist, if you want to keep the practice in your life, but you don't really want to be something big, you just want to keep art to yourself, but you also still want to improve as an artist. Yeah, these little times in the day, those break times, those car rides, those times waiting for something in a line can be used to improve as an artist. But then if you're trying to like really improve, if you're trying to make this like your future career, when you're really trying to hit it big, there's some things where you like really have to sacrifice. That going out time, that TV watching time, although not really, you can still have what you're watching playing in the background. Just don't make it that you have to visually focus more on what you're watching than what you're actually creating. That going out time, whatever is in the way, it boils to how much you have to sacrifice and how much you are willing to sacrifice to get to what you want. Just know that those times exist. Now, just know that now that you're a busy guy, it's not that those times do not exist at all. They are less than what they used to be before, and you can still use them to your advantage. And not only that, lastly, you can still get some things out of the way that are unnecessarily there, that don't have somewhat of an advantage, at least for now. It's not like you're gonna remove being social forever. I mean, we're social human beings. You remove that social life, you're gonna be some weirdo that just knows how to draw, and nobody wanna sit next to your weird self just because you know how to draw. Nah, it's not like we're gonna sacrifice this permanently. You're gonna have to think about it. If it makes you sacrifice it permanently, maybe it's not something to go for. If it's making you sacrifice something permanently that is somewhat still needed in your life, you have to sit down with yourself and think about the things that are standing, the things that are in your way to get where you need to be. If it's something that's not really that needed, if it's something that can be done less, if it's something that's still needed in your life but not really needed as much as you need what you're trying to get to, like the end goal, if you compare those two, maybe the end goal is much greater than what's in the way to the end goal. Maybe you can just sacrifice. It's not a permanent sacrifice. Like if you low-key just trying to improve as an artist, if you don't really have somewhere you're trying to go with your art, if you just want to improve your art because this is a hobby of yours that you have taken interest in and you want to improve in it, there's some times where you're like, okay, I'm with my friends, but like, are we really doing something? We are hanging out, we're having a great time, but like there's some days where you're like, hey yo, I could have put more work into the art, a little bit of sacrifice. I mean, if it's something like that, most of the time you don't really have to sacrifice hanging out with friends, like most of the time, not all the time, but like these little times that pop up in the day and these little times where you can like still sacrifice going out, or sacrifice just blankly watching TV or blankly going on social media. Some things like that where you can sacrifice. And then there are like those big goals. You understand how big of a goal it is. You understand not only art. You may think we're still talking about art. It can relate to anything. Right now, this has changed from a tip to a motivational video. It may be anything actually. If it's a really big goal and you understand how big it is, and you also understand what's in the way, and you also look at the things in the way. All right, are these things in the way? Do I really need them? Are they good for me? Is it good for me to completely cut them out of my life? What will happen to me if I cut them out just for a while? What will happen to me if I live without them? What will happen to me if it's the only thing I'll live with? You gotta ask yourself these things. You gotta find out more about these things in your way. If it has to get out of the way just for now, move it out of the way just for now. If it has to get out of the way completely and it's unhealthy and does actually have to move out of the way completely and it's like a bad thing for yourself, move it out the way. If it's something that actually has to be in your life, but a couple of months, a couple of years where it won't hurt without it, a couple of years without it won't hurt, just move it out of the way, man. But if it's something that has to be cut out of your life, but you actually need it to someone, you get the idea. You get what I'm trying to say, man. You get what I'm trying to say. It all boils down to the amount of time you have in the day and how much you are willing to sacrifice to get to where you need to be. Just don't multitask. Because looking back at how I used to draw art, how I used to create art, that's the number one thing I used to do. My attention was split. And when your attention is split on two things, you end up not completing both. And yeah, those are my tips and the message behind the video. If you enjoyed the video so far, if you made it this far, man, I'm really proud of you. You a true member of the Double Empire. And as a true member of the Double Empire, if you have not, make sure that you have hit the subscribe button so you can be a proper member of the Double Empire. While you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like. And if you got questions and if you got tips, if you have something to share, let me know down in the comments. We can have a discussion with with every member of the Double Empire down in the comment section, yeah? God bless, and until next time, Double M out.